Howdy, folks. I'm Brian,
I'm Amber.
and here's some Reddit. Our first story is titled, before we begin, this morning, it's actually morning, and I'm recording this video. I'm just trying this over Thanksgiving break to see how well that works. I don't know. We'll find out soon enough whether it's working well or not, won't we, when we get to the editing part? so, uh, I have a funny little story here, a saga, if you will, that's been going on for quite some time. It's not an interesting saga, but I'll share it with you nonetheless. So, what's happened is we bought these radiator covers. Now, I don't know if you've ever bought radiator covers, but they are expensive if you try to buy them from a legitimate company. and and when I say that, you already know what the issue probably is. So we bought these radiator covers. They were the cheapest ones we could find on from like Amazon, right? And we were like, well, we'll just buy them. We're just renting this place. It doesn't really matter. We can just leave them here if we don't like them, right? And so, but it would be nice to have something to cover over the radiators so that we can actually put stuff on over them, right? So that it's not like a fire risk or you risk, damaging something, right? So the radiator covers will just provide kind of a nice surface for certain things, right? So we thought, okay, we'll do this. So we get the radiator covers, we get them sent to our house, and they send us 8 of the wrong part. And now these pieces are supposed to be 23 inches long, and they sent us 27-inch long ones. And I emailed them, and they're like, okay, we got you. We're sorry. We'll send along a new set of number 3 pieces. Well, yesterday comes, and guess what, dear viewer? Guess what? That's right. They sent us 8 more of the wrong size. and now we're stuck with 16 of these 2 long pieces. I mean, I could cut them down, right? I was actually contemplating cutting them down, but I just have a little hacksaw, so I'd actually have to go and find someone who could really cut them and then drill holes in them. So I emailed them last night. I'm like, look, you sent us 8 more of the wrong parts. So I sent a picture, and I'm like, look, please just send us the right parts. And they last night were like, okay, we're sending you 8 more. So what I'm gonna guess is gonna happen next time is that they're gonna send us 16 because they're gonna see the picture of like 16 in there. They're gonna send us 16 of the wrong size again. I hope that isn't the case. I just want them to send us 8 of the correct size. So yeah, I just thought I would share. But let's get started. Let's read some Reddit. Our first story is titled, Am I a jerk for quitting on the spot even though we were understaffed and I made my manager cry? I work at a retail store in the mall, or worked. The store is divided into men's and women's and children's clothes. I always worked in the women's, and on the weekdays, I was always the employee in that entire section. Yesterday, myself and 2 other employees clocked into our shifts. My manager, Lisa, pulled me aside and said, "Your dad called the store 5 times asking for your schedule. Please tell him to stop." I got extremely confused because that didn't sound like something that my dad would do. I even texted him, and he said he never called the store once. I had a bad feeling and asked Lisa if she gave my, quote, dad my schedule, and she did. I then told her that that wasn't my dad, and she had no right telling a strange man my schedule. She got annoyed and told me that it wasn't a big deal and that I was being dramatic. Yeah, because that's drama. I then quit on the spot, which only left her and 2 other employees to watch the entire store. She kept apologizing and even burst into tears because they were understaffed. Am I the jerk? Alright, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk.
What was this manager thinking? I know that they were trying to do the right thing. They were trying to be, considerate and give OP's dad their schedule, but they don't know the relationship between OP and their dad, right? They had no right to give out their schedule without their explicit consent, And this could have led to a really bad situation for OP. Now this strange individual knows her schedule, knows when she's coming and going from the store, and that sounds like a recipe for kidnapping. Maybe I'm being dramatic. I don't know. I would be interested in what you folks have to say about this one. Over dramatic or reasonably rational? Anyhow, take care and good luck. Yeah, no, not the jerk. That's horrifying. And OP replies, I also only work evening shifts because my university schedule. I didn't feel comfortable at all. I don't blame you. The evening shift? So you're coming out of the store and this guy knows when your shift gets done. Yeah. Oh, wow. Not good. Not good at all. Not the jerk, that's a stalker. Your manager has literally endangered your life. You need to document this. Someone with more legal knowledge can tell you what to do, but if something happens to you, she is partially to blame. In the meantime, make sure that your taser is charged and your pepper spray is working. Alright, our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Ruining Someone's Morning Coffee? I thought a coffee episode, one with at least a coffee, would be a nice tribute to, me working in the morning on this. So I actually have a cup of coffee here. You'll notice that it too is a giant red mug. This was a gift a long time ago. It has major issues. Its handle is kind of falling off, but it's a fine mug. I like it all right. It has a very nice look to it, as long as you ignore the imperfections from where I dropped it many times. So I just thought doing coffee in the morning, that would be fun. We'll swap out our tea time for coffee time. Our next story is titled, Am I a Jerk for Ruining Someone's Morning Coffee? Okay, a little backstory. I get to Starbucks every day for breakfast. I drive an older Audi S4. It's my dream car, and I take very good care of it. I never set any cups or food on the car. Now on to the jerk possible moment. So I get my usual breakfast, coffee and sandwich, and I walk outside. The guy that was in front of me in the Starbucks is parked next to my car, and his door is open, and he's changing his shirt/sweatshirt between our cars. I wasn't really paying attention to that. What caught my eye was his $9 cold brew coffee sitting on the roof of my car. I politely asked him to remove it so I could leave and go to work. His response was, he didn't want a coffee ring on his car. He'll get to it when he's done. With a bad attitude. Mind you, he is driving a mid-sized Nissan SUV that has at least 4 cup holders. So, reacting to his attitude and his bad placing on things on my car, I jumped in, started my car, and pulled out quickly. Area was safe, parking lot was nearly empty, and no incoming cars. His coffee flew off my car and landed to the ground, hitting him, remembering cold brew, and his car. And I head to work. Now, as I drive to work, I wonder if I'm the jerk, or was I just reacting to one? Alright, folks, I'm interested in what you have to say about this one. Is this a jerk thing to have done, or is this something reasonable to have done? I don't know. I think it might be slightly jerkish, to be quite honest. Like, all he had to do was say, look, bub, get your coffee off my car, or it's going to end up on the ground.
Or set it on the sidewalk or something.
Yeah, or set it on the sidewalk and just be like, look, don't do this, or I'll, you don't want coffee rings on your car, I don't want coffee rings on my car. Let's all be, let's all remember what we learned in kindergarten here and don't touch other people's stuff. So I think that while OP, the thing is, OP's like, oh, I take good care of my car, I don't want it to get messy and stuff like that. But if you knock that coffee off the roof of your car, then it probably splashed on your car, right? I mean, you're still going to get coffee on your vehicle probably from that. So the whole, well, I want to take good care of my car, I don't want coffee stains on it, you probably should take your car to a car wash if you did that. So I think that, yeah, I mean, certainly you were right to be frustrated with the situation, but I think this is kind of like one jerk reacting to another jerk situation in a little bit. So maybe I have to disagree with the Reddit a tiny bit here and not say that this person, I think maybe everyone's the jerk in this situation a little bit. I don't know that I agree with their not the jerk verdict here. Let me know what you folks think. Do you think this was like a good, suitable like reaction to this, or do you think this was like a over the top thing? I'm really curious about what you have to say. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Not the jerk. I don't care if you were driving a 2003 Cavalier. It's your car, his coffee. Edit, I don't want to seem like I'm bad-mouthing a Cavalier. I'm not making fun of the car, I'm just contrasting with OP's vehicle, saying that the owner's car, and that's the key thing. I actually had a 96 Cavalier from 2001 to 2004. Apparently this person got jumped on for saying Cavaliers were a bad car or something like that. Yeah, what car either person drives doesn't matter. Put your own stuff on your own car. Some people's behavior just baffles me. Shaking my head. Not the jerk, first off, you don't put anything else on anyone else's car. That's not his property, so he's already wrong. Strike one. Then he has the nerve to say that he doesn't want a ring on his car, but it's okay to put one on a stranger's? Okay, strike two. Then he doesn't remove it when asked, which is just plain rude. Strike three. You definitely were not in the wrong. If he didn't want his coffee spilled, then he shouldn't have put it on another person's car. How rude and entitled. Alright, our next letter is titled, and just happens to be, about coffee. Am I the jerk for being angry that my coffee was swapped with decaf? So my boyfriend, a 28-year-old male, and I, a 26-year-old female, have recently moved in together. Due to some health issues, I am always tired and struggling to have energy. Editing, as some people have expressed concern, I know my health conditions are, and I'm currently on medication from my doctor for it. The coffee simply helps bring me up to a semi-normal energy level when taken in addition to my medication. This has meant that I end up drinking a few cups of coffee a day to keep myself up and going. The last few weeks I've noticed that my coffee is not helping me, and I'll be honest, I'm worried as I thought my health was growing worse. Why else would it not be helping? I told my boyfriend my worry, and he told me that he had swapped out my coffee for decaf, and he was worried about me and how much healthier it was for me. I'm currently very upset with him as he didn't even consider telling me his thoughts and instead tampered with my coffee without telling me. He says that I'm being dramatic and it's just decaf, but I'm wondering if our relationship is something that should continue, as it just seems messed up to me that he'd think that this is not only okay to do, but normal. I've told him that I need to think about things, which is only making him upset and making him wonder why I don't see he was trying to do a nice thing. Alright, folks. Well, what do you think here? A jerk or not the jerk in this situation?
Not the jerk.
I would have to say that OP is definitely not the jerk in this situation. Like, tampering with someone's food in general is a bad idea. I think that there's a rule of thumb that if you're going to tamper with someone's food, they need to be, like, at least somewhat aware. Like, this isn't like, oh, I swapped out, cumin for oregano type of thing as a spice in a meal, right? Like there are certain you can not tell your partner every single thing that you're putting into food, right? That's just like a kind of a blanket statement. If you're going to cook food, you're going to prepare food for someone, like you don't have to tell them every single thing, right? There's a certain level of understanding. If you have a medical condition and you're trying to treat your medical condition and you have a doctor that you're working with, right? Then leave that to the medical expert, right? Don't go and tamper with your partner's like medical concern type things. And I think I think that's just plain rude. I think that it was very deceptive of him to not come out and say, hey, I think you're drinking too much caffeine. Maybe you should cut back, and, then they can have that conversation. But what he did is he didn't, approach her. He didn't say, hey, we need to sit and talk about this. I think I'm concerned about the amount of coffee you're drinking. He just made a unilateral decision and was like, oh yeah, I'm going to change out your coffee schedule. And so, too bad. I'll show you how much better your life is when you're not drinking more caffeine. So I don't know. I think that was a poor choice on his part, and certainly a jerk thing for him to do. So yeah. Anyhow, take care and good luck. Not the jerk, huge red flag that he didn't think to ask you or talk to you about his concerns before trying to control you and your food intake, especially as it relates to your health. That's not a nice thing, that's not caring, and it's not okay on any level. You are so right to be upset and angry with him over this. They just moved in together too, and this is his version of the welcome wagon, is controlling her and tampering with her food and making her doubt her own health as soon as he gets a chance. I'd move right back out. Our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for taking care of a toddler for a few hours because his mother wouldn't wake up? I'll just get to it. Me, my husband, and our 1-year-old went to visit some friends yesterday. Our friends are also husband and wife, and their 10-month-old son. It was the guy's birthday, and we spent the night at their house. There was some drinking involved, but I kept the soda because I have a strong rule against drinking while taking care of my baby son. Me and hubby went to bed in the guest rooms about 1 a.m. Our hosts kept the party going until about 5. At 7 in the morning, my son woke up. I changed and fed him. I started playing with him, and about half hour later, I heard the other baby in the house crying. 15 minutes passed, and he was still crying. I went to check on him, and he was wide awake in his crib and definitely distressed, but both parents were asleep next to him in their bed. I tried to wake them up, but I had no luck with that and picked up the baby and some diapers and took him to the guest room. I changed and fed him. I fed him some baby fruit puree, which was in their house, so I know it was safe. After that, me and my husband just kept an eye on the boys until our friends woke up at about 11. Our friends seemed to be okay, but on the ride home, the guide called my husband to tell him that his wife feels a bit embarrassed about the situation, that I should have left the baby there because eventually one of them would have woken up and cared for him. But I did my best to wake them up, and I just couldn't stand the baby crying, and I knew I was perfectly capable of stepping up and taking care of the baby. So, am I the jerk? Edit. Some of you suggest that we don't continue the friendship, and we actually gave this a good amount of thinking, but things worked out a bit differently. My friend, the mother, called me about a half hour ago. She basically told me that she's sorry that this happened, but she feels that what I did was prove her that I'm a better mother. She told me that she doesn't want to feel like she's in a competition with me and that our friendship is not healthy anymore. Never, not even for a single moment, did it cross my mind that I needed to show her that I was a better mom. Never have I considered myself a better mom than her. This morning, all I could think about was that her baby was crying and that I have the skills to help him. So I acted guided by my instinct of empathy and tried to wake them up. Alright. So what do you folks think? Jerk or not the jerk in this situation?
Not the jerk.
You know, it's hard to fault someone for trying to care for a baby, and I think OP took the necessary steps. Like, OP tried to wake up the parents. They did everything in their power to, alleviate the stress of the situation for the child, and I think that was a good and noble thing to do. I would really, really have a hard time faulting OP for their actions here. They acted in an empathetic way. They didn't rub it in their face when they woke up. They weren't like, hey, your baby was crying, I took care of them, like a real mom would. If OP had said something like that, then yeah, I could see them being a jerk in that situation. Just, lording it over them like, you owe me a huge favor now because I took care of your child. Like, yeah, that might have been a jerk thing to do, but this seems like a completely benign situation where OP was literally just looking out for the child, who, by the way, is a 10-month-old and is completely incapable of taking care of themselves, so they need someone there to rely on them. So, yeah, I like I said, I would have a hard time faulting OP here. So I would say not the jerk. So let me know what you folks think, though. Anyhow, take care and good luck. Not the jerk. Who the blank keeps the party going until 5 a.m. when there are 2 toddlers in the house? You did the right thing and they were neglected. Not the jerk. Your friends are terrible parents for preferring that their child is left hungry and crying just to save them the embarrassment of someone else having to fill in while they snoozed. They should have thanked you instead. Yeah. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving me a like. And if you didn't, consider giving me a dislike. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.